And I believe we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We're the Kennedys. Welcome to all of our longtime viewers. This is our 27th show.
Wow.
We've done these weekly shows every Sunday since March 15th, I think was this the first Sunday. And so we want to welcome all of our longtime viewers, welcome all the new viewers. I know we've got some Birds fans who found us this week, and also the people who just started streaming with us on Facebook. We've been on YouTube for the first, I think, 24 episodes. And all of our shows are archived on our YouTube channel. And we've got some new Facebook friends with us too. And I know some people come back and watch much after the fact because we archive all these. So welcome to all y'all, as they say in Texas. And if you are on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, there should be a little subscribe button down there. Hit that and a bell will pop up. Hit the bell, and that way every time we put up a new video, you'll get an alert. And if you can right now, I'm also just directing this to the YouTube people, hit that thumbs up like button. That improves the quality of our stream. And for the Facebook people, rumors have abounded this week about Facebook stopping their music streaming. And I don't know why. I'm thinking it might have to do somewhat with the monetization, because if you watch on YouTube, you'll see every now and then an ad will pop up. We don't put those up. But those are put up by the publishers of the songs that we occasionally cover. Of course, today we're doing all covers, and all the income that comes from the ad revenue, goes to the publishers and the songwriters, which is the way we want it.
That's what we want.
Because we're playing songs that we love. So, but they don't do that on Facebook, and I think that might be why they're going to stop it. So if you're not on our YouTube stream, I would invite you to join us. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/C, for some reason, /the Kennedys. So you can join us on YouTube and go back and watch all 27 of our episodes. We've done lots of specialty shows, always all request.
So if you're watching on Facebook this week, you would maybe switch over to YouTube starting
next
with
week,
the next
just
show?
in case, because we don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
But today it's our big Birds. I made this special sign.
In case you haven't figured it out.
In case you haven't figured it out. Our all-time favorite band.
Yes. When we first got together, the very first tour that we did was over in England. We were opening for Nancy Griffith. And I remember that we sat down in a pub down in Brighton.
Yes.
And we had a little sort of a meeting, just the two of us, about what was our concept going to be. And we decided, our original concept was, what if the Birds were getting together now? What would they incorporate and what would they sound like? And we were so fortunate that before long, we were mentored a bit by Roger McGuinn, whose ideas were a lot like ours. He said that they incorporated world music and little bits of classical and jazz and a lot of folk music, and they came up with something totally original and great, something really smart that's jumped out of that little transistor radio. You'll notice I've got my Birds coffee mug today. There's Gene Clark looming out from the coffee.
It's dishwasher safe.
Yeah. So we are going to get right down to the music, and we're going to start off with the Rickenbacker. The Rickenbacker 12-string is going to be very
That's
present
kind of
today.
the star of the show. The songs and the Rickenbacker. We're just the supporting cast.
Rickenbacker's a big part of the whole thing. We're going to start with 3 all-time classics.
Of course, I dropped my water bottle right off the bat.
3 classics from the Birds' very first album. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there ain't no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jingle morning, I'll come following you. Take me for a trip upon your magic swirling ship. All my senses have been stripped, but my hands can't feel your grip, while my toes too numb to step. Wait only for my
until night overlaid. Castor dances fell my way. I promised to go under. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there ain't no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jingle morning, I'll come follow you. Far between sundown's finished, midnight's broken toll. We ducked inside a doorway, thunder crashing. As majestic bells of bolts struck shadows in these sounds, seeming to be the chimes of freedom flashing. Flashing for the warriors, whose strength is not to fight. Flashing for the refugees on the unarmed road of flight. And for each and every underdog, soldier in the night. And we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. Clouds like curtain in a far-off corner flashed, and the hypnotic splatter of mist was slowly lifting. Electric lights still struck like arrows fired before the ones condemned to drift, or else be kept from drifting. Tolling for the searching ones on their speechless seeking trail, for the lonesome hearted lover with too personal a tale, and for each unharmful gentle soul displaced inside jail. And we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. Starry-eyed and laughing, as I recall when we were caught, trapped by no track of ours, for they hands suspended. As we listened one last time, and we watched with one last look, spellbound and swallowed till the tolling ended. Tolling for the aching ones whose wounds cannot be nursed, for the countless confused, accused, misused, strung out ones and worse, and for every hung up person in the whole wide universe. And we gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing. putting me on. And I'll probably feel a whole lot better when you're gone. Oh, when you're gone. Get it, Pete.
Now I gotta say that it's not like before.
I like it for, and I'm not gonna play, not gonna play.
Your games anymore. After what you did,
After what you did, I can't stay on. And I'll probably feel a whole lot better when you're gone. Oh, when you're gone. Oh, when you're gone. Oh, when you're gone.
made it all the way to the last chord.
Last chord.
That's one of those solos that when you finish it, you breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hit all the right frets.
Yeah, you did
Such
too.
a great solo. You know, the thing about McGuinn is he's such a compositional guitar player. He wasn't playing like fast bluesy solos or anything like that. He played these perfect parts that are integral to the song. You can't play that song and not go. It's just like, or you know, they're perfectly meshed with the melody and the vocal and everything. It's a brilliant way of playing. You know, he's known as the keeper of the bird's flame and the visionary, but as a guitarist, because he's not flashy, I think he's underrated. I love his playing so much.
Certain guitar solos like that one make me think that, you know, you can copyright a melody and you can copyright lyrics, but you can't copyright a guitar solo. But a solo that's that definitive, I think ought to be. I think you should copyright it.
Because it's a composition.
It is.
itself.
It actually is a well thought out composition. It's not just like wheedly blues licks and stuff like that.
Wheedly.
So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are full-time musicians, and we lost all of our gigs. I remember March 9th was the March 6th was the last gig we played, and we taught at Gilda's Club on March 9th, and then everything closed after that.
That was it.
And that was it. So we've been doing these ever since, and they're always optional. The tip jar is optional, and we love when people come and join us, no matter what your situation. But for those of you who are able to tip, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I don't know what we would do otherwise. You're keeping food on our table and lights on and everything. So I would like to share with you how you can tip if you would like to. There are a couple different ways. You can go to paypal.me/TheKennedysMusic. And also PayPal does take out a fee if you go that way. But if you send it directly, and we'll show you how to do that later, they don't take out a fee. There's also Venmo, and Venmo does not take out a fee. That's a good option too. Venmo.com/the_Kennedys. And one of our favorite ways to get your tips is good old-fashioned U.S. mail. For one thing, we support the U.S. mail. It's an institution that we all rely on, more than ever now that we're all still sequestered from this pandemic. So we've been sending out replies too. It's handwritten notes.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember the last time I sent out a handwritten card. So we do it all the time now. So that's a good way to support the U.S.
I had to remember my penmanship lessons from
Yeah.
Catholic school.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have
You
lessons.
get whacked with the ruler if you went outside the lines.
There's other options for tipping. You can find them all at kennedysmusic.com. That's Kennedy's headquarters. And you can always find everything, our YouTube channel, tips, upcoming streams, and that sort of thing. That's all there. So what are we doing next, Pete?
2 of the 3 songs we played were written by Nobel Prize winner Bob Dylan. And it was really first Peter, Paul and Mary with Blowin' in the Wind. who introduced Bob Dylan's music, his lyrics to the radio. But it was really, in 1965 was sort of this breakthrough of smart music on the radio. Because you had things like Rubber Soul came out in late 1965. Dylan had his first hit song, Like a Rolling Stone, in the summer of 1965. But before all that was Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds. And so I tend to give them credit for bringing Dylan's poetry to the mainstream. We're going to do another great Bob Dylan song that was recorded by the Byrds. Also another one of my all-time favorite Rickenbacker guitar solos.
And I didn't mention, or did I, that all of our shows are all requests, and all the songs that we're playing are ones that were requested by you. This one, we got several requests. Howard Gamble, Chris Hansen, and John Shell all requested this song.
Ready?
Yeah.
The four.
Crimson flames tied through my ears, rolling high in mighty tracks. Pounds with fire on flaming roads, using ideas as my man. We'll meet on edges soon, said I, proudly heated brow. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Half-cracked prejudice lead forth, ripped down all hate I scream. Lies of life is black and white, spoke from my skull I dream. Romantic facts of musketeers, foundation deep somehow. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. In a soldier's stance I aim my hand at the mongrel dogs who teach, fearing that I'd become my enemy in the instant that I reach. My pathway led by confusion boats, mutiny from stern to bow. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Yes, my guard stood hard when abstract threats were too noble to neglect. Deceived me into thinking I had something to protect. Good and bad, I define these terms quite clear, no doubt, somehow. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love playing that solo. I could just,
That's another integral solo. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta play that.
Yep.
You can't come to the beginning, the middle, and go.
Ooh, no.
What
can't
Frank
do
Zappa called nat notes.
I call them wheelie
GNAT.
wheelies and barenties and stuff. We did 3 songs, I think, by Dylan so far, and only one by Gene Clark. We got to do another Gene Clark song.
That's right. The other great songwriter that was kind of featured in their early music.
Well, to me, the thing about Gene Clark, that he brought all that, I believe it was Gene, because just based on the songs that he wrote, so modal. The harmonies were modal in fourths instead of thirds. You think of the Everly Brothers singing in thirds, the Byrds singing in fourths and fifths.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool.
So much of the magic of the Byrds, I think, was that they were coming out of roots music, really deep roots music. You know, McGuinn had been a folk sideman for years playing acoustic music. And David Crosby had been in the Les Baxter Folk Singers, which was like one of those large groups. And Gene Clark had grown up, I think, in extreme poverty in Missouri, and in the way out in the country. And I think he was playing at a bar, and the New Christy Minstrels, who were another one of those large popular folk groups, they were coming through the area, and they happened to be there, and they grabbed him and brought him to California.
There's video of him with
And he had such deep roots, being an actual real, rural guy, that when he sang country and folk music, it wasn't something that he learned from records. It was coming from deep inside. And when he wrote songs, he wrote that way too. He's a brilliant writer. We're going to do one of his songs. It's not a hit song, which to me makes it really interesting. I love to go into the deep cuts of the Byrds.
And we're going to send this one out to our friends Chuck and Kathy Gearhart out in San Francisco. They asked for some Gene Clark.
Daytime just makes me feel lonely. Night I can only dream about you. Girl, you're on my mind nearly all of the time. It's so hard being here without you. Words in my head keep repeating things that you said when I was with you. And I wonder, is it true? Do you feel the same way too? It's so hard being here without you. Being here without you. Oh, I know it won't last. I'll see you someday. It seems as though that day will come never. But there's one thing I swear, though you're far away, I'll be thinking about you forever. The streets that I walk on depress me. Ones that were happy when I was with you. Still with all the friends I know, and with all the things I do, it's so hard being here without you. Being here without you.
I think of all the people locked up, in isolation through these last many months, and how tough it is.
Yeah. It's a song about loneliness.
Yes, it is. Well,
I don't even know what to say as an introduction to this song.
I know.
It's just one of the great songs.
well, there's Bob Dylan, there's Gene Clark, and there's also Pete Seeger
That's right.
that figure in to the Byrds cluster of songwriters that made their sound so great. Mm-hmm. And it's always been really impressive to me the way the Byrds arranged some of these songs, how they arranged Bob Dylan, how they arranged Pete Seeger songs. Because if you listen to the originals, it's like those songs are on a different planet. And the Byrds brought everything, the harmonies, the Rickenbacker, the production, the vocal blend, all that stuff to these songs and really made them their own.
They made it their own. I don't know if anyone else, it might be my particular age group, but I remember the first time I heard each one of these songs that were on the radio. It was usually on my little transistor radio. I totally remember hearing this for the first time. And they just seemed to lift the world up when you heard them.
A lot of folks requested this one. We're going to send it out to a couple of them. Ricky 12 String, who is in Stockholm.
Yeah.
He's a great DJ in Stockholm. He's got a weekly show there. And also Sherry Jones Mahoney asked for this one.
Everything turn, turn, turn. Here is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. The time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to give, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. Here is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. Here is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. Here is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Sometimes you just need space
Yeah.
to let the song go by. I want to make a comment about our community over on Facebook and I guess on YouTube and I guess Facebook now. One of the great things about these streams happens completely separate from us in the chat window, and people have forged very good friendships over there. And there's all kinds of support and. When people are at loss, or congratulations when there's a new baby born or something
People
to celebrate.
watch with family members who live in a different country or on the other side of the states, and it's just a great. It really is a community. Like you said, it exists outside of us.
Well, we're going to do a song that I'm nervous about.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my glasses on for this. It's songs you need like. It's
Extra,
like a
you need a
glasses
boost.
kind of song. I know I should have the round granny glass. No, the
No,
square.
square. I used to have some really cool blue ones, rectangles with the little beveled
Rectangles,
edges.
yeah.
What happened to those?
I don't know. If
Every time
anyone
you
knows
move,
where
you
they
know, you
are,
lose
let us
stuff.
know. Yeah.
Bill Nolman asked for this one, and so did Bob Broughton. This is a very cool tune. Jim McGuinn wrote this with his friend Harvey Gerst. So we got Jim McGuinn, a song that Jim wrote.
Writing too.
Roger. I got another modal. This is a modal song.
Yeah.
You know,
also with another
Yeah.
really, really cool guitar thing.
Yes. Okay. See if I can remember this.
Ready?
Ready? Yeah.
Every time I see you smile, come to me, don't be long. Let me tell you how my heart goes wild. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Every time I'm in your arms, come to me, don't be long. You know that I'll never do you harm. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Let me love you and you'll see. Come to me, come to me. Let me show you once and you'll be free. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Every time I see you smile, come to me, don't be long. Let me tell you how my heart goes wild. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Let me love you, then you'll see. Come to me, come to me. Let me show you once and you'll be free. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. Please let me love you and it won't be wrong. That's a Debussy chord at the
Oh
end
yeah.
there. That's not in like,
Pop music.
yeah.
But
That-
McGuinn, you know, he was an arranger before he was in the Brill. He arranged for Judy Collins and people in the Brill
Yeah.
building, right?
He
Is that
has
right?
things that are like 20th century classical, you know, like Bartok and Stravinsky, that are in those little guitar parts. Like this one, he actually played another part a fifth below it at the same time. Like to do
Yeah.
them together would be like,
Come on, Pete, you can do it. Woodshed.
I'll
Well, I know you can do it. 'cause-
practice at home.
I know you can do it because you figured out how to play the double solo of Angie Bird Can Sing at the same time. So I know you can do this. It's tough though.
You just have to cheat a little bit here and there, that's all.
Yeah, well, that's guitar. That's arranging. Because we're two people. We're not a 5-person band. Once again, I'm just throwing up the tip reminders for you all if you want to or can tip. That's very much appreciated. And also, we have all the tip information in the description down below. There's that one too. Let's move on. Barry Ward asked for this next song.
When Peter Fonda was coming up with an idea for a film that would be directly addressed to the counterculture, not a mainstream movie at all. It was a new idea in Hollywood, and so he came up with these two characters who travel across country on motorcycles, and legend has it that he sort of based his own character on McGuinn. And there's no question, I think, that Dennis Hopper based his character on David Crosby, the bird. He even made himself look like David Crosby. And so Fonda went to, first he went to Bob Dylan and asked him to write a theme song for this film. And once again, according to legend, Dylan had a napkin on the table or something, and he scratched.
Serviette.
Yeah,
For our
so, yeah,
international
here
friends.
in England. And he's scratched out a quick first verse, and he said, "Give this to McGuinn, and he'll know what to do with it." So I accept that legend because
Yes,
I
I
like
do
it.
too.
And if you haven't already guessed, it's the ballad of Easy,
Easy
Rider.
The river flows, it flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from this road to some other town. All he wanted was to be free, and that's the way it turned out to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from this road to some other town. Flow, river, flow, past the shady tree. Go, river, go to the sea. Flow to the sea. The river flows, it flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from this road to some other town. So beautiful. And the way McGuinn plays that part, it sounds like the river. It sounds like little mini rapids, just like bubbling along the river.
Yeah, yep, McGuinn's finger picking thing. This next song was one that Bob Dylan recorded for the album The Times They Are Changing, but he didn't put it on the album. He kept it in the can. It didn't come out on his own version until that great Biograph compilation years later. But McGuinn heard it, and it's just a beautiful. I thought it reminded me of Wordsworth.
Yeah.
You know, nature poetry with a really strong metaphysical kind of overlay. I just read today where a theologian, called it the greatest theological poem since the Psalms. So
Wow.
you got King David and Bob Dylan, but he was reportedly at the Baez sort of camp. That's what we call it here in New York. A big house in a vacation type place. They had a house in Carmel, California, one of the most beautiful spots in the world, and it looked out on the Pacific Ocean. And he seems to have stayed up all night, and right as the sun was coming up, this poem came to him.
And this actually reminds me more of Thoreau than anything else, because
Yeah.
he's identifying the music in nature. And we're going to send this one out, since it was written on the California coast, to all of our West Coast friends and fans who are facing all that difficulty just breathing, and in the line of fire of the forest fires all up and down the coast. So we send this out to Bonnie and Sam, and Russ and Julie, and Cassie and Mary, and Steve Caskey, and Wayne Rogers, Chuck and Kathy. We have a lot of friends out there on the West Coast, so we hope that you stay safe. And this song,
I think it's about finding a measure of peace within yourself while nature does what it does. And we hope that you all stay safe and that you can find some peace during this crisis.
Ready?
This goes out
It's
to
A,
all you
right?
West Coast people.
It's A, right? Okay.
Yep.
Start the right key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Lay down your weary tune, lay down the strength of streams. No voice can hold to harm. Struck by the sounds before the sun, I knew the night had come. The morning breeze like a bugle blew against the drums of dawn. Lay down, you're weary to lay down. Lay down the song you strung, and rest yourself neath the strength of strings. No voice can hold to harm. The ocean wild like an organ played. The seaweed's woven strands, the crashing waves like cymbals crash against the rocks and sands. Lay down, you're weary to lay down. Lay down the song you strung, and rest yourself neath the strength of strings. No voice can hold to harm. The last of leaves fell from the trees and clung to a new love's breast. The branches bare like a banjo moan to the winds that listen the best. Lay down, you're weary to lay down. Lay down the song you strung, and rest yourself neath the strength of strings. No voice can hold to harm. It is very Thoreau.
Thoreau,
It's like what Thoreau would write in his journals.
Well, like Thoreau said something about the wind harp. The telegraph wires would catch the wind and vibrate a sound, and he heard that in nature. I mean, the harp part of it was a little bit man-made, but he heard it in the leaves and the trees too.
Yeah,
And,
and this song also compares the lines tend to, it begins with the sound in nature, it ends with the sound, a man-made sound.
Oh.
All throughout it contrasts those two things.
The drums of dawn and all that. Well, and also I think it's really cool that the chorus is "Lay down, you're weary to." In other words, shut up and listen to nature. Don't try to conquer nature. I guess that's my interpretation of it. And yet he wrote the song.
I think
So he's singing the song that he's telling us to.
If I don't do a Telecaster song, the Clarence White fans are going to be up.
Oh,
in
really?
arms.
You told me this was going to be an all
I know, but I'm going to violate that rule
Rickenbacker
and
show.
do something on the Telecaster.
All right. Well, a lot of folks have asked for something from Sweetheart of the Rodeo album. Sweetheart of the Rodeo. We've got all the vinyl, you know. We didn't ever get rid of the vinyl, which is a good thing because CDs are not always perfect. You've got to tune that thing. This is a song, if you want to play at home, a lot of folks have their guitars handy.
Yeah.
And this is the easiest song to play because it's 3 chords. And it's all the verses and the choruses, the chords are in the same order, the same rhythm. It's just D, E minor, G, D. Hint number 1. Hint number 2, it's another Dylan song. And hint number 3, it's on Sweetheart of the Rodeo album.
Yeah. Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Turn it up, Pete. Clouds so swift, the rain won't lift, gate won't close, railings froze. Get your mind off winter time, you ain't going nowhere. Ooh, you ride me high, tomorrow's the my bride's gonna come. Oh, we're gonna fly down in an easy chair. I don't care how many letters they sent, morning cake and morning wet. Pick up your money and pack up your tent, McGuinn, 'cause you ain't going nowhere. Ooh, ride me high, tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Oh, we're gonna fly down in an easy chair. Pick a beat. Buy me a flute and a gun that shoots, tailgates and substitutes. Strap yourself to a tree with roots. You ain't going nowhere. Ooh, ride me high. Tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Oh, we're gonna fly down in an easy chair. Well, Genghis Khan, he could not keep all his kings by his sleep. We'll climb that hill no matter how steep. When we get up to, ooh, ride me high. Tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Oh, we're gonna fly down in an easy chair. Say it with us, yeah. Ooh, ride me high. Tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna come. Oh, we're gonna fly down in an easy chair. Take it home, Pete. Cassie says, twang that thing.
Twang it.
I'm glad, Cassie. I'm glad you checked in because we've been worried about you out there in Sacramento with the fires and all that.
I stood at the Boston Tea Party at Kenmore Square back in 1970. I stood right in front of Clarence White for 90 minutes when the Byrds played there, just kind of absorbing this massive sound he got out of the Telecaster. He was so inventive, and he wasn't like, rock. You look at like rock people from back then, like jumping around and he stood really stock still, and he had a beard, and he wore this big cape, and it looked like an owl. It was like an owl with a Telecaster, or like a medieval knight, and he never moved at all. It was like a Roy Orbison kind of presence, and he just like stared straight ahead and played this amazing stuff, and I was so. It was almost like classical music, really, because there was no artifice to it at all. It was like totally real. I love that.
We're going to dedicate this next song to Ilse and Martin in the Midlands of England, not because the song's about the Midlands of England, but because it is about Wales, and they just got back from Wales. So we're going to dedicate that to Ilse and Martin. And this is another Pete Seeger melody, but the lyrics are by a Welsh poet by the name of Idris Davies, and he grew up speaking Welsh, the son of a mine lift operator, and he himself, after he left school young, 14 I think he was, he started working in the mines. He worked in the mines for years, and after an accident, and he lost his finger in an accident, and he started, there were protests against the mine company, and this particular mine ended up shutting down. He lost his job. But while he was in the mine, one of his fellow miners turned him on to Shelley, the poetry of Shelley. And he was just transfixed. So he started his study, kind of self-study, and he got himself into some teaching jobs. And almost all of his poetry is about where he came from and about the mining industry. He was the only poet who was writing about that place and that time.
And then he was mentored by T.S. Eliot and Dylan Thomas.
Yeah, that's right.
And through Dylan Thomas, that's how Pete Seeger had read this poem.
Yeah. So we're going to give it a go. We haven't played this one before. I think I do the intro, right,
You
Pete?
kick it off.
Okay, I'm stalling because I'm nervous about the song. I love the song so much, and I don't want to mess it up. Okay.
Oh, what will you give me? Say the sad bells are ringing. Is there hope for the future? Say the brown bells of Merthyr. Who made the mine owner? Say the black bells of Rambler. And who killed the miner? Say the grim bells of with the vandals in chord, say the bells of all will be well if, say the green bells of Cardiff. Why so worried, sisters, why? Say the silver bells of wine. And what will you give me? Say the sad bells of Brittany. Oh, what will you give me? Say the sad bells of Brittany. Is there hope for the future? Say the brown bells of Merthyr. Who made the mine owner? Say the black bells of Rambler. Kill the miner, say the grim bells of Pete Seeger is another. Remember, we did a show of all Pete Seeger songs at the Terrytown Music Hall a few years ago with Steve Earle and Peter Yarrow and a bunch of people, and it really brought home to me what a great songwriter. I mean, he was known, I think, more as an activist and just this overall personality, but just as a pure songwriter.
Someone just mentioned, who was it that said that? I lost your comment here, but said that, yes, William Hoffman reminded us that the Byrds wanted to pronounce all the Welsh words correctly. And apparently Rhymney is actually pronounced Rumney.
Rumney, yeah.
But, you know, you can't really change it now, can you? We want to read a listener letter. Rich in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Hi, Rich. He writes, I miss seeing you live, but being able to see you guys so close together from my front row seat, you all have front row seats, is incredible. Not only do I get to enjoy your performance, but I also get to observe your playing up close. Each song is a wonderful guitar lesson. Thank you for the music and community.
Great. Well, I'll give you a little. People ask questions about the Rickenbacker all the time. These guitars are very rare. Rickenbacker is a company that's based in Los Angeles, and they were closely allied with Fender
Oh, I didn't know.
early on, and as they split off, they went in two different directions. Fender became bigger and bigger and bigger, and Rickenbacker stayed very small. They're still very small. And if you want to buy a Rickenbacker, you'll be lucky to find one in a store. You may have to order one that would come up a couple of years
6
later.
years later.
And I bought this one in 1990 at Working Man Guitars in Austin, Texas for $700.
Good deal.
And I
Pete.
saw one identical to it last year online for $3,500. So that's what they're going for now.
I would say it's our retirement, but we'll never sell it. So.
No, at the time that I bought it, they were not that popular. One thing people always ask for is how can you tell it's a 12 string when a 12 string usually, if you look at my acoustic 12 string, it's got this huge headstock because there's 12 strings instead of 6. And what Rickenbacker did was they have the typical tuning gears going across here, but they have 6 more going sideways across the back. So when Roger McGuinn went to see Hard Day's Night and he heard George Harrison playing the second Rickenbacker 12 string ever made, at first he couldn't figure out why he was hearing a 12 string, but it looked like it was a 6 string. And then when he saw one in person, he realized how they had designed the headstock. Also, a couple of quick things about Roger's playing. He was a folk musician, and finger picking is a huge part of folk music on the guitar and also the banjo. He was a banjo player. When you play banjo, one of the things you learn is the Earl Scruggs rolls. And there's a roll called the alternating roll, where you play a thumb note, an index finger note, a thumb note, and a middle finger note, like this. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. If you do it fast, it's... So while he's playing the melody with his thumb, he's playing these droning notes on these two open strings at the same time. So I do a little bit differently because I do picking fingers, but I use that technique of playing banjo rolls on the Rickenbacker 12 string.
That is valuable information.
That will help you to get that bird's kind of sound.
Also, I want to, David Hinkes is stealing that. He says,
Good, steal it.
It is 2 minutes to 3, but we're not going to stop. We have so many great songs by the Byrds that we want to play, so we're going to go probably 15 minutes over, and that's fine. And also, there are a lot of requests that we're not going to get to, so we're going to consider this Byrds special tribute part 1. We'll do another one sometime. No, let's stick with the program because I really want to do this one. I don't mind going late if you don't mind. If you don't mind going late, you know. This is a fun one.
1, 2, 3.
Woke up this morning with light in my eyes, and then realized it was still dark outside. There was a light coming down from the sky. I don't know who or why. Must be those strangers that come every night. Those saucer-shaped lights put people uptight. Leave blue green footprints that glow in the dark. I hope they get home alright.
Everybody sing.
Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Woke up this morning, I'm feeling quite weird. There flies in my beard, my toothpaste was smeared. Over my window they're written my name, saying so long I'll see you again. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Don't be. won't you please take me along for a ride?
How could we cut that song out?
We
of this
can't
set?
cut
You
that
can't
song
cut
out
that
of the
one. Yeah. This one though, we certainly can't, because this next song we're going to do, figures into our own music in a very big way.
Yes. We had written a song down in the mountains in Virginia called Life is Large. And we had the idea of inserting the Bach melody, Jesu Joy a Man's Desiring, into the middle of the song as the guitar solo. Because it was like a Byrds idea that instead of kind of improvising, we would have a very set solo. And Moritz had reminded me that McGuinn had played that melody on the B side of Turn, Turn, Turn on a Gene Clark song called She Don't Care About Time. We got this crazy idea. We were actually at the Grand Canyon, and we telephoned the right people, and we inquired if McGuinn might be interested in playing that melody, the Bach
didn't
melody,
know him or
on our own record. And we had to just introduce ourselves cold. And we were driving all around the West Coast, and we were in Montana at a truck stop weeks later, and there was a message. Remember, you would call your answering machine. There was a message from McGuinn's people, I will say, saying, yeah, he likes the song and he'll do it. So we jumped back in the car and drove from Montana to Virginia, picked up the master tape, and continued on to
Winter Park, Florida. Full Sail
and where we did
Studios.
it. So this song is so important to us, and it's a great song anyway. It's another Gene Clark song.
Ready?
Yeah, it's
You
called
start it
She Don't Care About Time.
Hallways and staircases every day to climb, to go up to my white wall room out on the end of time, where I can be with my love, for she is all that is mine, and she'll always be there, my love, don't care about time. I laugh with her, cry with her, hold her close, she is mine. The way she tells me of her love, and never is she trying. She don't have to be assured of any good things to find, and she'll always be there, my love, don't care about time. Her eyes are dark and deep with love, her hair hangs long and fine. She walks with ease and all she sees is never wrong or right. And with her arms around me tight, I see her all in my mind. And she'll always be there, my love, don't care about time. She'll always be there, my love, don't care about time.
So Roger said he would do it. He met us at Winter Park at the Full Sail Studios. The folks there at that studio were really wonderful. You could tell that they took good care of McGuinn whenever he came in. And let me see if I can find this picture. Somebody mentioned this. Here's a photo from that session in 1995. There's McGuinn with his 12 string, and I'm listening very closely. But he told us all about how to get his sound, His
And-
chiming sound with the right compression and everything.
And he didn't just influence us. He told me a story that he got around 1966, I think. He got a package in the mail, and it was an acetate. In those days, before cassettes or anything, you could actually burn, if you were a recording artist, you would burn a one-off 45, and that's what it was. And it was from George Harrison, and there was a little note that said, "This one's for you, Jim," and it was this song. It was "If I Needed Someone," and George had written that as like a tribute to the Byrds. In fact, when I saw the Beatles in '66, George had a Rickenbacker 12-string, and he played that song. And they also have the ahs and everything. It's their Byrds song.
Yeah.
So even the Beatles are influenced by the Byrds. That's saying a lot.
Yeah. You want to do this one, or should we skip this one?
Let's do this one when we do the country rock.
Okay, we'll
show.
skip this one. We'll skip one. That means we're up to our big finale.
Yeah.
All right, and before we do, one more time, we're going to let you know how you can help us out if you're able. And we so very much appreciate it. I don't know, we'd be out on the street if it weren't for all of you. So you can find our tip jar at kennedysmusic.com. And you can, if you want to PayPal us, you can do that. I'm just going to put up the Kennedys because all the tipping options are up there, and I don't want to belabor the situation. So we're going to
Also, after this week, you might want to go directly to YouTube rather than Facebook.
join us on YouTube because Facebook may not be allowing musical streams anymore. That's our Facebook channel there. If you go to youtube.com/C the Kennedys and then subscribe, then you'll never miss a show, even if they take it off of the YouTube, off of the Facebook. And next week we decided. We've done these shows. We've passed 300 songs, different songs, and we haven't been repeating songs much. We repeated a few today, but next week we're going to do all Kennedy songs, and they can be repeats. They're all like favorites.
Open season.
Open season on Kennedy's favorites next
Yeah.
week. So any of the songs you want to hear, you haven't heard in a while, let us know what those are, and we will be happy to play them for you.
This one goes out to Lisa Beretta and also to our dear friend
Jill
Seagraves.
Seagraves. And thanks all for being here. Another Clark McGuinn. This is a Clark McGuinn and Crosby co-write. The only one that we've done today.
Miles high, and
thank you so much. Big thanks
Stay
to
safe.
Roger McGuinn and Gene Clark and Chris Hillman and David Crosby and Bob Dylan and Pete
Pete
Seeger
Seeger.
and
So many great songs today.
Davies and all the songwriters. That's another thing, we post the songwriter information down below too. Where's my mask? I can't leave without putting my mask on. Thank you all so much for being here, and we hope to see you next week. Stay safe. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Please plan your vote. Plan on voting. It's very important. It's an American thing. It's bipartisan. And we will see you here next week. Peace, y'all.
Thank you.